Qualifying went well. Luckily, we got the timing when we did because it literally done one flying lap and then the red flag come out. So we was really lucky we timed that well. Team done a mega job changing both tyres in literally about 4 minutes. So I feel sorry for them. They probably burnt their fingers changing the front wheel, but you know, we rewarded them with a pole, so it's all worth it. But yeah, all good other than that. Hopefully we can settle into a bit of a rhythm for the race and just chip away and try and score some championship points and get back on track, really.
We went out with the new tyres and obviously went to go start a run. I actually got a good track position and unfortunately made us a small mistake that led to a big consequence going into turn 2 and 3, so that completely scrubbed off my first lap. So I just had to regroup really quick. And then we went into lap 2 and fairly decent lap. My lap time wasn't working, so I don't actually know what it was, but it felt all right. Definitely a lot more potential there. We've improved the bike, so I felt like I could go and make another step on the lap time again. But just went over the start-finish line, just got my lap in, then it got red flag. So lucky in that sense, but unlucky in the sense it didn't get restarted and didn't really feel like I got to show my full potential there. But that kind of has given us a good indication that the bike has improved. So to be honest, that gives us a good feeling going into the race. We're not a million miles off, and obviously I'm feeling better on the bike every time I get on it after the collarbone injury. So overall, unlucky, but still could be worse. So we'll go into the race with positive feelings and see what we can do.
Brad Ray was on pole position for the first race of the showdown here at Oulton Park with overcast conditions, but it was a rocket start for Jason O'Halloran, who got the whole shot into turn 1 ahead of Tommy Bridewell and Brad Ray, with Peter Hickman in 4th. As they went down the hill into Cascades, a move from Tommy Bridewell, he'd certainly thought about it and then made the move eventually into Shell Oils to get himself into the lead of the race. Brad Ray, though, was not holding back. He went through on fellow Yamaha rider Jason O'Halloran and then waited just a couple more corners to go through on Tommy Bridewell to lead, and that was the last they would see of the championship leader, looking for his 20th podium and 8th win of the season. The battle for the podium looked like it was between 4 riders at this stage, with O'Halloran and Bridewell fighting away and Peter Hickman ever present. O'Halloran went through on Tommy Bridewell, a lovely move, to go up into second place. Taz McKenzie was trying to fight through further back as well. Hickman then had a go onto the podium. He went through into Old Hall Corner but went wide, and on the cutback Bridewell came through, and Bridewell then got back up into second again ahead of Jason O'Halloran. Brad Ray was checking out front. He was 2 or 3 seconds clear, and then the drama started. Taz McKenzie managed to get himself through on Leo Haslam, but then dramatically crashed at Shell Oils. And then on the final lap, this move from Peter Hickman. He got excluded from the results, but crucially, Jason O'Halloran has crashed out through no fault of his own. He's absolutely fuming. That left the checkered flag to Brad Ray. He's picked up win number 8 of the season. Second place was Tommy Bridewell, and it was third to Leon Haslam, his first podium since we were at Oulton earlier in the season.
We got started on Friday, obviously coming back from Snetterton where we had the concussion. And Friday it was a tough day, you know, I didn't feel myself at all. I felt a bit rusty on the bike and whatever else, and a few things going on. So it was miles off the pace, and we had a mechanical issue in FP2 which stopped us from completing any more than 5 laps, so it was a bit frustrating. But we went into Saturday and I was feeling a little bit better in the morning, still not myself. We went through Q1. And the extra time that we lost, that we got on the bike through Q1, I think helped the time that we lost in FP2. So it was nice. I got myself up to speed and in a mid-34, which was the fastest time I'd done on this bike around Oulton Park. So I couldn't complain. You know, I was 2.5 seconds off the pace on Friday, and we went to getting straight through Q2 and doing my fastest time on the BMW. So it wasn't too bad. I was feeling a bit more myself. Went into Q2. And then did my fastest ever time around Oulton Park, which was good. Considering where we started, it was a really good step, you know, and I was just feeling myself a bit more, you know. So can't complain with where we qualified. Unfortunately, it was actually far down the grid. We did a 34.2 and we was 14th. 0.2 of a second would have put me 4th, and 0.4 of a second would have put me 2nd. So it was seriously close. I think 6 riders did a 34.0. So unbelievably close, the closest it's ever been. I think in pretty much any qualifying session, barring like Silverstone probably. But on a circuit this long, that's real close. So the grid position wasn't great. I knew it was going to be difficult. We did suffer a little bit with bad starts. So I got off the line the best I could, but lost a few positions and got boxed in, and I got pushed to wide at Cascades. Lost a few more positions, so we were down quite a way. I did some good moves, overtook 3 on 1 lap and stuff like that, and had a nice gap in front of me to Josh Brooks and Tom Sykes, and I pulled them in within 2 laps. I was half a second and more a lap faster. Set some decent times, and then unfortunately on my current lap that I was on a really fast time, and I come out of Knickerbrook chicane and the bike let go of me. Just to come out of the chicane and the engine went bang, dropped a valve. So unfortunate, it's just frustrating, you know. We could have done with three races under our belt this weekend, just laps, you know, especially coming back from a big crash at Snetterton. It would have been nice to get some laps under our belt and a race so we could work for tomorrow to improve the bike. But we're pretty much starting where we was yesterday with the bike, not making any drastic changes. Something a little bit to try and warm up this morning, and see what we can do to the following 2 races today. Hopefully we can get a decent start, still 14th on the grid. So yeah, hopefully we can get away with a decent group, and I think our pace we can solidly run in the top 10 if we can get there. So I look forward to it, and yeah, see what we can do.
So highlights then from the National Superstock race saw Alex Oulton starting from pole position, but an emphatic start by Charlie Nesbitt saw him have the whole shot from Davey Todd and Tom Ward into the first corner. It became a great scrap for position with Charlie Nesbitt hitting the front, Tom Ward going through on that Aprilia in the early stages as well. Billy McConnell also getting his elbows out as we saw an incredible overtake from Oulton going around the outside. He then picked the pocket of Tom Ward going into the final corner of Lodge and made his way through up into second, and then it was a battle with him and Charlie Nesbitt for the race lead, albeit very briefly. Oulton going through as Billy Mack set about making his progress through the field. Davey Todd then got his elbows out on Charlie Nesbitt into the final corner, and then set about passing Alex Oulton into the Hislop chicane. A great overtake there from Davey Todd. And it would all come down as to who would be leading on the final lap. Oulton went through Then it was Davey Todd in second place, but a great move down the inside into Old Hall Corner. He went through into the race lead on Alex Olsen. And that is where he would stay until the checkered flag as Spud Nesbitt made an incredible overtake into the Shell Oil hairpin on Olsen, relegating the BMW rider down into third place. It's a second win in succession for Davey Todd from Spud Nesbitt and Alex Olsen.
Jason O'Halloran was on pole position for the second Bennetts British Superbike race of Oulton Park here as we start the showdown, and he got the whole shot, but the opening lap wiped out at Druids by Tommy Bridewell, the second time he'd been in the gravel trap in as many days. His teammate didn't fare much better either. A nasty crash for him. He rejoined the circuit and was clattered by Peter Hickman, which then brought out the red flags as he received medical treatment. The race restarted with Brad Ray on pole ahead of the two FS3 Kawasaki's. Ray managed to get the whole shot into turn one. He was followed into turn one by Rory Skinner, his teammate Kyle Ryde and Lee Jackson. In the background, a bit of a moment for Dean Harrison as he almost went grass tracking. Kyle Ryde then made it briefly, albeit a 1-2 for the Rich Energy OMG Yamaha team as Jackson pulled off a lovely move on his teammate over at Hizzy's. Christian Idden was going well at this point as well as Jackson pulled off exactly the same move and went up into second place, but then the red flags were out again. A horrible incident involving Idden, Skinner, the bike clattering in to Kyle Ryde as well, with others trying to take avoiding action. And guess what? The red flag was out again with spots of rain falling on the circuit. We then resumed for a 7-lap dash. Brad Ray on pole with tyres changed before the start of this one. Glenn Irwin was in second with Lee Jackson third and Danny Buchan up there as well, and Tommy Bridewell, having started from way down on the grid in part two, managing to have come through. Kyle Ryde then went down again despite the team working so hard to get him back out. He went down with Tom Neve. But Brad Ray was starting to run into a bit of tyre trouble. Lee Jackson went up into second place. Tommy Bridewell was coming through the pack as well, and Jacko then made his move on Bradley Ray. Having won earlier on in the season at Oulton Park, the first of his career, he was sailing away as Tommy Bridewell then moved on Brad Ray as well. Bridewell was trying to line up a move on the final lap, but it wasn't to be. The checkered flag was out, and it was FS3 Kawasaki rider Lee Jackson winning, with Tommy Bridewell finishing second and Brad Ray in third.
Yeah, a really, really unusual weekend. We've been really strong here at Oulton Park, which is fantastic for myself, the FHO Racing BMW team. Had a really good qualifying in fourth, my fastest ever lap here. And then the first race, really, really good race. Got a good start, really got mixed in with the front three. Brad managed to eke away a little bit towards the end. I did pass Bridewell at one point, he got me back. But overall, actually, a really strong race for us. And was looking forward to, or looking at a podium. Had a go at Jason at Druids, just kind of caught his handlebar, I went down. I was going for a podium, and as I said already, I was here to race. It ended up that Leon Haslam had me on the brakes going into the last corner because obviously I lost the run out of Druids, so I ended up fourth in the race, and then the stewards decided to disqualify me from the race, give me a 3-place grid penalty for today's race and 2 penalty points on my licence. However, it is what it is. I just took it on the chin. I didn't even appeal it. I felt like there was no need to appeal it, just go with it. Today got a not such a great start on the first race, or the first start. Mixed up in the pack a little bit, was starting to come through forwards. I got actually to about fourth at the time, and then yeah, there was a red flag because I got caught up in Taz McKenzie clipped the curb, went down, and unfortunately I ran over Taz, which I just had nowhere to go. I tried to avoid him as much as possible. I ran him over, I went down as well. It looks like he's really badly hurt his leg. I was with him for as long as I was allowed to be with him. When we crashed, I actually ran to him first, just to make sure he was breathing and try and keep him calm, because you know, it's when you've got all that adrenaline and you've just been hit and you're in pain, it's a really hard situation to be in. So I was with him as long as the marshals will allow me to be with him. We were then allowed to restart the next race, but we had to start from the back of the grid. The team did a fantastic job to get the bike ready again. Started at the back of the grid, made a good start, managed to stay out of trouble in the first lap. There was loads of things going on again in the first lap. Made my way up to somewhere around the 14th mark, so I was into the points. And then there was another big crash in front of us, which then brought out the red flag again. So we started then the next race from 11th on the grid, got away all right, but the problem was we didn't have another tyre ready for us because we'd already used one from the first start. Because the tyres had been dirty from on the grass, we were allowed to start with new tyres about to start at the back of the grid, but I was at the back of the grid anyway, so it didn't make any difference. And then once I did get away, the tyre wasn't quite up to temperature and the pressure's just gone really, really high. So unfortunately, the last few laps I really struggled with the tyre just spinning everywhere. I was 7th going on to the last lap and I actually finished 10th. Really got kind of mullered in the last few turns, but we're starting a long way back for the next grid as well because I didn't get a lap time properly from that race, which is really unfortunate because we've been properly on podium pace all weekend. And it's just not happening for us through one reason or another. But we'll have another go this afternoon. Let's see what we can do.
Davey Todd started race 2 for Pirelli National Superstock on pole position, and when the lights went out he made an absolutely brilliant start, but so did Spud Nesbitt as Billy McConnell was swallowed up by the pack down into the first corner. It was Todd who led the way. Coming out of Old Hall and down into Cascades for the first time. You can see Tom Ward was getting his elbows out on the Aprilia as he went up the inside of Alex Oulton and through into 3rd place. Then there was a dramatic crash for the Aussie Mark Chiodo. He went down, sent another rider off in sympathy as well. Thankfully, both were up and okay following that, but it was an incident that brought the safety car out. So the race was neutralised, and once it resumed, unfortunately, technical problems denied a possible podium for Spud Nesbitt on the Vision Track Suzuki. Then we saw Billy McConnell making his way back through the field once we were under green flag conditions. He got up the inside of Tom Ward as other riders unfortunately bit the dust. That was Max Morgan going down the road. And the rider from Chelmsford up and okay. Brendan Elliott had a brilliant second half of the race on his Honda. He made moves and got himself into good contention. But Davey Todd managed to clear off out in front and was never to be seen again. What a strong result it was. 3 wins in a row for Davey Todd on board the Paget's Honda. And great momentum coming into Donington Park next weekend for National Superstock.
Let's be politically correct, yeah? Right, okay. Davey Todd was f***ing quick, but other than that, yeah, 5 laps under the lap record and we still couldn't bridge the gap to him. I think we did a 35.8 for 5 laps on the bounce and still pulled away, but yeah, that was everything we had in the tank other than going over the fence today, you know. I've never pushed so hard, I don't think, to come second, but fair play to him, he had some serious pace. Safety car helped a little bit, just pulled him back in. If he didn't come out, I think he might have been a bit harder to catch, but yeah, he just had a lucky, really, that safety car come out when he did. He just held him back for a few more laps and backed me back up onto Tom Ward and let me have another go, so thanks to the safety car, but yeah, hopefully at Donington Park we can stop him running away with this and try and ruffle his feathers a little bit and just get some few more people in the mix, hopefully, and have another go. But team done everything. The bike's been bang on all weekend. We've been a few members short this weekend. Hef's in Thailand and the crew chief's in Spain. So we had the Broddy girl taking tyre warmers off. So everyone's chipped in and dug in deep this weekend to pull their weight. So fair play to Danielle, and I hope you're enjoying your time, Hef.
Real struggle, to be honest. Yeah, the safety car actually came out, I think, on lap 2 or 3, and then from there I tried to push, and I just struggled a lot, to be honest, with a few movements on the bike, a few mistakes from me, and then it just got a bit worse. So had to sort of just use my head. I didn't want to crash again with the collarbone, so I had to be real careful and just do what I could do. And then, to be honest, the last few laps I was just hanging in there because I'd had a moment up over Clay Hill and the bike just snapped back and it tried to pull the bars out of my hands. And yeah, I'm happy to be back riding, but obviously we can't be happy with these results. It's not the reason we go racing, it's not the reason the team goes racing, but obviously it's the first weekend back since the injury, so Overall, like I say, I'm just happy to be back on the bike, and we'll move into Donington next weekend, a bit less of a physical track, and aim to try and do better, because that's where we need to be further at the front. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, we'll work hard, and we'll try and get a good weekend next weekend, and finish the end of the year strong and proud too.
Glenn Irwin was on pole ahead of Lee Jackson and Bradley Ray in Bennetts British Superbike Race 3, with 3 showdown contenders missing. No McCann's Yamaha riders, and Skinner off to hospital as well. Christian Idden couldn't make it as he went off for a checkup with a head injury from earlier. Glenn Irwin, though, was feeling racy. He got out front despite Brad Ray getting up the inside of him into Lodge Corner. Lee Jackson was ever present, Tommy Bridewell and Danny Buchan in one of the closest races we've seen. Leon Haslam, Tom Sykes and Josh Brooks were all in touch at this point, the 2 experienced riders, former World Superbike champion and British Superbike champion, going head-to-head. Tom Neve went down again, a nightmare for the number 68 here this weekend. And again, Brad Ray then ran into trouble whilst leading. Glenn Irwin, first of all, went through on the number 28, the championship leader, and then it was the turn of Tommy Bridewell, as he was looking for a hat-trick of podiums. Danny Buchan was lining up one as well on the Cinetic BMW, and Lee Jackson then started to get stronger as well. Leon Haslam at this point was the fastest rider on circuit number 91, back there in 6th place as Tommy Bridewell moved into the lead ahead of Glenn Irwin. But it all went wrong for Leon Haslam moments later as he went grass tracking and had to rejoin further down the pack. As we got to the closing stages of the final race of the weekend at Oulton, Bradley Ray was dropping like a stone. Through had gone Danny Buchan and now Lee Jackson as well, and he'd moved down to 5th. Jackson then started his hunt for the podium. He went through on Danny Buchan. In the closing stages, we thought there might be a move into the last corner, but it wasn't to be. Tommy Bridewell picks up his first victory of the season. He was first across the line ahead of Glenn Irwin, with Lee Jackson in 3rd, with 6 races of the season to go.
We're at Oulton this weekend. Well, we have good and bad luck, let's say. So obviously with Superbike, we had a bit of a bad luck. You know, Jason came off and he kind of accidentally, you know, how do I put it? It's, you know, it's racing, let's say that. You know, it's a tough weekend. I think, you know, I think the second race we had 2 red flags. I mean, it's just crazy to see all those people just coming off, and I just hope Tyron's okay. I hope, you know, everyone's back to their top self in Donington. But on another note, we got some good luck in stock side. Obviously, Alex got on the podiums. He got 2nd. You know, Jack, he's getting better. He's coming back. Obviously, his shoulder still bothers him a bit, I can see. But Donington, hopefully, he'll be on form again. Let's say, you know, it's been a very experienced Oulton Park this round, and we look forward to Donington.